Good evening. I'd like to welcome you to the Planning and Economic Development Committee meeting of January 18th, 2022. I think the first order is to approval of the minutes from December 14th. Okay, got a second? All signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Thank you. Okay, we have a privilege of a floor. We're gonna wait. Okay, come on up. Yeah, you're on the agenda, so we'll
Do
wait
you
after.
want me to speak up there?
Yeah, but she's gonna speak
Thank you.
first. Okay. Maybe you can wait over Greg's here.
Wait, I'm just the person that comes ahead of time, ahead of me. You can join me.
Okay.
Have fun.
All right, can you introduce yourself again, please?
Karen Engstrom, Town of Chautauqua, Village of Mayville, and I'm here bringing to you a letter from the Amish. We are, of course, facing our solar situation, which I update you on periodically. And I'd like to read this letter that was addressed to the Town Board of Chautauqua from the Amish community, and you will note that there are 5 pages of signatures, 4 pages of signatures here. They are writing, and I will quote them. We, as an Amish community in Mayville, DeWittville, Stockton, desire our farmland to be preserved for our future generations, for our children and grandchildren, and we are opposed to solar panels in our area. No farms, no food. I know we represent more the rich people here as the legislature than we do the others, but these people will be here long after all the rich people ruin this place and leave. So, according to the Chautauqua County Farm Bureau, these people are really under the pressure. 84% of the land targeted for utility scale solar is agricultural land. These people do not own all their land, they rent it. And their capacity to survive the fact that developers offer twice, 3 times, 4 times as much to landowners for the use of the land for solar makes it impossible for them to function. NYSERDA also states that solar in this region produces only 14% of the electricity claimed by the developers. Is that worth it? 14%? There's another farm that is in jeopardy among many in our area. It was featured in yesterday's Post-Journal, the Midnight Dairy Farm in Fluvanna, which wrote a letter to you, I think. You each got a copy of it. And, you know, the farmers' concerns are many. They can't have these solar things as neighbors because they contaminate the soil in many different ways. They compact the soil. The runoff from the construction into the water of the streams affects their livestock's ability to have clean water for drinking, et cetera. It goes on and on. This is also, these multiple projects planned for this area are not consistent with the comprehensive plan of Chautauqua County, the goal of which is to protect rural character of our community. And we know that we depend on tourism, and conservation is very important. Tourism and recreation. The Cattaraugus County IDA has taken steps to protect their community, which they call the whatever hills, the Mystic Hills. Because there is no economic return, solar and wind do not accomplish the main IDA criteria, nor do they create and retain local jobs. The Cattaraugus County IDA has attempted to block them by calling for them to be built as they should be everywhere in brownfields. We have lots of brownfields where we can put solar. Town of Chautauqua recognizes the danger of PFAS. PFAS is a real danger for everyone. It's been recognized by the EPA as an accumulative and present in a lot of things, but it's also present in solar panels. So the Town of Chautauqua requires in its solar special use permit proof that there is no PFAS in solar components. This is a protection that we definitely need. Everyone should have this protection, and it can be put into law. Another law that has passed in our neighboring county, Niagara, is that all solar components be recycled. This, we feel, is an important element in our effort to be good environmentalists. Ripley Solar has come to our attention that the project's forest removal mitigation plan has been rejected because there are 538 acres more to be cleared of forest to put up what? Nothing good. These grifters continue to attempt to take over the agricultural land that we value immensely. There's also a lawsuit, which you have all gotten material on in the past, so we'll go on it. So we hope for proof of no PFAS moratorium, as has been done in Cattaraugus County, to better assess this and to respect the wishes of not the rich of this county and those who are landowners that simply don't do what farmers in their philosophy is do no harm and protect the land, not destroy it. So I will be back.
Thank you, Karen.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you, Karen. What is it you'd like to see Chautauqua County do?
You can do what the town of Chautauqua did and call for a requirement that there be no PFAS. We've already got it in the Chattacombe River. It's a serious danger coming at us. That's a protection. If these people are legitimate and they're conscientious, they will do what it takes to protect the community. If a developer, as in the town of Chautauqua's case, can't comply, then they disappear. And that's as it should be. We're seeing from the Wall Street Journal that investment in wind and solar used to be at 15, rated 15, it's now 5. Smart money's gone to advanced nuclear. That's where, I won't name the people, but you know the big investors are putting their money carefully. Mr. Gates is one of them, quietly. And we don't want solar here. Of course not. That's a straw man argument. We can have utilizing what is already there. And NRG is a perfect example of what could have been done to do the dual cycle gas. And it still could be a public utility. It still could be taken over and made into something productive. And we also have the necessity of upgrading the grid. As Senator Morello points out, 35% of our electricity is lost on the outdated wires that just can't carry it. So they're turning off those wind turbines up there. 1 out of 3 is turned off because they can't even send the power anywhere. So until they correct the system, everything they're telling you have to do is hypocritical. And Niagara Falls is being curtailed as well to say we need power here. And as Senator Morello points out, when we're in trouble, we get our electricity from Pennsylvania and it's made with dirty coal. And so all we can do is protect ourselves here, and then the solutions have to come from what's there to be done. NYSERDA called it. NYSERDA pointed out that the wind in the lake doesn't make any sense at all. So there are people, engineers in those places that will say, well, look, we do have power plants that are existing. We can do something with them. We can use the dams we already have, produce power. That's clean. It's green. It's real clean. This is not clean. This is dirty. This, in where it comes from, I've told you many times before, it just doesn't make sense to make the dirt in somebody else's backyard and then pretend that you're clean here. So all you have to do is protect yourself and us, and especially the Amish. They won't come and talk to you, but they need. I value them, I respect them, and I think that their way of life may be one we all end up with if they destroy this place.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay. Thank you, Karen. Okay, moving along. The first resolution.
Can I say something really quick for privilege of the floor?
Sure, okay.
Okay.
Mhm.
So my name's Courtney Domst. I'm a junior planner with the county's planning department. And we just would like to request that our yearly update be added to the agenda for the next February meeting.
Okay,
But that's it.
sure. Oh, that was easy. Okay. Okay, so you have the next two resolutions, right?
Not the first one, but the second and third.
Oh, okay. so you can just stay there. So the first resolution is to confirm the appointment of the Ag and Farmland Protection Board. Is there anybody here to speak for that?
Mr. Chairman, I can speak to this one. With the retirement of our good friend Jay Gould, who served on this board for many, many years, Legislator Hemmer volunteered to take his place on this board, which is, John is a wonderful choice for this because John has lots of experience in agriculture.
Yeah. Great. Okay.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I'd like to add a comment about, there were a couple of years where I served with Mr. Hemmer on the Cornell Cooperative Board, and I know he's been very committed to that and agriculture, and the number of years he's spent with that, developing networks, relationships, and supporting 4-H. I think he's a great person to take this position.
Great, good. Good. Anybody else? Okay, all signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Thank you. Thank you for your comments. Okay, the floor is yours.
All right.
Okay, I'll read we're confirming the appointment of the Chautauqua County Planning Board. Now it's yours.
So this is a new appointment. His name is Zachary Dean. He is currently a member of the Community Advocates Committee, which works to promote collaboration between Dunkirk's various non-for-profit organizations. And then he is also a Skywarn weather spotter through the National Weather Service in Buffalo. He is very eager to start. He has reached out multiple times wanting to get on this board, so.
Great. Any questions? All signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Thank you. Third, proposed resolution to confirm the reappointment of the Chautauqua County Food Policy Council.
So Susan Parker served this last year on the Food Policy Council, and she is interested in being reappointed. We think she'll continue to be a good fit.
Great. Anything? Okay, all signify by saying aye. Aye. Thank you. Land Bank, that's not you? Okay, thank you very much. Anybody here for the Land Bank? Mr. Chairman?
I can just point out that we've added one new appointment to the Land Bank with the retirement of our good friend legislator
Jay?
Paul Whitford, who served on the Land Bank for many years. Very, very active member of the Land Bank Board. Bob Scudder, Legislator Scudder, has generously volunteered to serve on the Land Bank Board.
Okay. Anybody else see, any good about Scudder?
Where do you want me to start?
No. Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Okay. Number 5, confirm appointment to the Chautauqua County Soil and Water Conservation District Board of Directors.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make an amendment
We'd like to
to
make
the
a
resolution to include the names that were just presented to us on the new resolution.
Okay, and I'll just read the names aloud. Fred Crosscut of Sherman, Lisa Vanstone of Jamestown, Alan Peterson of Jamestown, and Bruce Kidder of Jamestown, going along with our chairman, Mr. Pierre Chagnon, Bemis Point.
Mr. Chairman, I'll again point out that with the retirement of Legislator Gould, who served on this board for many, many years, and was unwilling to give up his seat to anybody until he retired, he finally allowed me the opportunity to serve on this board, which I have worked closely with over the last 10 years, and I'm excited for the opportunity to serve on this board.
Great.
I went to my first meeting today, even before I was appointed.
Without us, huh?
Nice.
Talk about dedication. Okay, so we have a motion to adjourn. I need a second.
I'll second that.
Okay.
We
All,
didn't vote on the resolution, did we? The amended resolution?
well, that's what we're voting on, the
Okay.
amended resolution.
Okay, I thought you-
You made the motion, Mr. Mr. Wilfon made,
Oh,
seconded.
okay.
I thought you said to adjourn, though, didn't you?
Yeah, he did say to
Yeah,
adjourn.
you said
Oh,
to
did I?
adjourn.
Yeah.
So quick to get out of here, come on, give it his due.
All right, I'm sorry.
So the amended,
To be amended. So I have a first and I have a second. All signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, so now we have to vote on the amended resolution.
correct?
Okay. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right, we have a special guest with us tonight. Tim, you want to come on down? Introduce yourself to the group.
Hi, Tim, how are you?
Well, I wish I had like a big presentation or something for you, but this was kind of came together at the last minute as an opportunity to speak to you folks.
Great.
Not about snowmobile. But my background and my history and my contacts have to do with the ATV. And it extends from, yes, Mr. Wilkman?
Could, you have to say who you are?
Yeah.
And stuff like that, and
Forgive me.
a little informal
Thank
here,
you,
but
Mr.
that's what you have to do. Okay.
Tim D'Angelo, and I am representing today the, let's call it the Kinzua Region ATV Association.
Okay.
Not my personal business, but it's certainly something that I have a lot of background with and a lot of connections here. It is certainly not what I think could be successful by just being a Chautauqua County issue. This needs to be a regional issue, and I have a lot of comparisons to draw from the Hatfield and McCoy Recreational Authority, which is a 9-county economic development project in West Virginia. That has led to other places down south in Virginia called the Spearhead Trails, others in Tennessee and others in Kentucky. They're all in a real close area, but the numbers have grown very compelling. Did everybody get the email that I had sent to Mr. Davis to forward about our website, kratv.org? There is a line at the top where it says impact. On that page, you'll find the latest from 2021 economic impact study from Marshall University. There are some compelling numbers. I can't explain all of those pages that are in there, but the things that I looked at through the years have been the growing number of permits that they have and the economic impact that's there. Last year, there were 71,000 out-of-state permits, which I know that seems like a lot. It is. It is for us to travel 8 hours or 10 hours to get to those various locations, and truly my experience there is different than it was 7 or 8 years ago. The first time that we went, we stayed at a place where we decided, you know what, we're gonna stop at Walmart. We're gonna bring our own food. We're gonna save some money here. And I will tell you, the poverty level there is, it's tough. It's tough to watch. It really is. So now we'll bring bottled water, which happens to be a really good idea. But other than that, we're trying to spend as much money as we can in those communities, because that's all that's really left there. But they are growing. That's 71,000 permits and out-of-state permits in 2021, and I think it's on page 22 in there. I'll send you all, because I've got an email address for all of you from the invite. I will try to forward on some of the specifics that are in there,
Great.
but without trying to talk for 5 hours tonight.
Okay.
But that generated up in the area of 70 million in economic impact.
For the state of West
In
Virginia.
West Virginia, yeah. Now, that's a big number. You know, do we have a lot of activities here that are capable of generating those type of numbers? I don't know that we do. But let me tell you how big this really can be if we play the role that we're capable of playing in our area. And this is from the New York Off-Highway Recreational Vehicle Association. That within 2 hours of our area, so we're only going to Rochester, Buffalo, Cleveland, and Pittsburgh, there are more than 500,000 ATVs and side-by-sides looking for a destination within 2 hours. I'm gonna tell you, this could be $100 million into our region, and by region, I don't mean Chautauqua County. I don't know where the county owns property. I don't even know if we need county property, but it's permissions that we need to get to. And we've got a lot of leadership from the Hatfield McCoy Recreational Authority. This would not be a start from scratch and, you know, take our lumps. There's a lot of help out there from different places. When we were starting to organize, and we organized as a, I don't know, 501 something or other, It's like, well, how do we do this? And Jeff Zinga he's our rep for the Off-Highway Vehicle Association in Niagara Falls said, you know what, I think I've got an attorney that would help you out in Buffalo. So for like $600, we got these things done. Looking for a grant writer. Son of a gun, if my neighbor doesn't have somebody to give a call to. Turns out he works in New York with Cornell University and in Pennsylvania with Penn State University. And he was on his way to a meeting with the Seneca Nation the first time I talked to him. So the players in this, the way our group seems to be envisioning this, is Chautauqua, Cattaraugus, and Allegheny counties, the Seneca Nation of Indians. It is the McKean County, Warren County, Elk County. I can't remember all of them that are there, but we already have people that have small ATV groups, relatively speaking. Some have little bits of trail permissions and things like that, but nothing to generate on their own the type of impact that a regional effort could really bring to the table. And I don't think you get a lot of folks here that are looking for help, that are saying, we don't need your money. It really is a powerful thing here to say, we don't need your money. We're gonna need your help, because there are things out there that have to be navigated that I can't see them. Our board can't see them, our participants can't see them, but we're gonna need some help. Jim Decker. Jim Decker runs the Warren Economic Development Council down there, and they recently completed a project for Jake's Rocks Bike Trail. So this is just bicycles, off mountain bikes. And they're up to 15,000 visitors a year for bicycles. And he says it's just crazy. So I went, and I got an invitation to go down and speak with them, and I've got a couple of things about ATVs and the stereotype that may go along with those things. And I think it's important as an organization that we try to control the narrative on how we're viewed in the public. And we're truly capable of raising a lot of money for different types of fundraisers and taking care of other volunteer organizations. Personally, it's gonna be rescuing dogs. It's gonna be cemeteries. It's been particularly rural cemeteries that I happen to know something about and happen to have one on my block in Kyantone. And the other one is volunteer fire departments. Just one of the things, you know, I belong as a social member to the Kyantone Fire Department, and little did I know who I was talking to at that meeting, that Ben Kafferline is the captain of one of his, their local fire department thing. And from the cemetery place, you know, we have to deal with landowners. You know, we have to ask for permissions. And if we're doing those types of deeds in the community to help some of these rural cemeteries, because once a rural cemetery has no longer an association that takes care of it, it goes to the municipality. And right now, things are tough. You know, maybe they get mowed, maybe they don't, but a lot of them are in disrepair. And if if I need to put 50 people in some place, we can show up like that. Let us control the narrative to be recognized as, hey, that's not the people that are out, you know, riding in the middle of the night, leaving beer cans all over type of stuff. Because I don't think that's the image that's gonna get us where we wanna go with all the communities. I feel like the only way that we're gonna really get this done is to have an everybody wins attitude to this. And that means bringing everybody in from the beginning, whether it's the conservation groups that are worried about different parts of land, it's law enforcement. All of these things that deserve, you know, their attention and respect right from the very beginning to get this going. I think it needs to be kind of a quiet effort on our end, because if I could release, Wednesday? If I released it tonight that we had 50 miles of brand-new trails to ride in South Valley, you'd have 5,000 people there in a weekend, in a heartbeat. The demand is just that big for this type of stuff. The money is big. Ben Kafferline has sent me some federal, I think there were federal grant applications. He says, Tim, this isn't hundreds of $1,000s. It's millions of dollars that are available for outdoor recreation and tourism, and it's right up your alley. It's just exactly what you guys have been talking to us about. But let's make it a regional effort so that we can support all sorts of businesses, create jobs, without really asking for, hey, we need a couple $1 million in seed money. Let us quietly try to organize the different places that I'm talking about in each of the counties, because there's a lot of people in these counties that they've found ways to get together. Well, let's pull some of these representatives together and see if we can't figure out how to do this, even though it's never been done. In the Hatfield-McCoy Recreational Authority is a 9-county economic development project, all in West Virginia. There is another trail system that is starting there, Fire something, I can't remember what it is, but it's not gonna be called the Hatfield-McCoy Recreational or Hatfield-McCoy Trails, but they are the ones that are gonna be running it. And it's just that level of expertise that they have, you know, to handle some of the issues, and there's gonna be issues, we know that. You know, I already hear it from the folks that are in the South Valley outside of Frewsburg area, that and I've ridden down there, it's tremendous. We have the raw material in the landscape to do this. We've gotta be careful with our neighbors, but there aren't a lot of neighbors in that Billy Goat country when you get that far down there. And the businesses that are down there can all use our help. I think there's a lot more businesses that'll pop up from there, so. I just think that it's a powerful place to begin something that hasn't been done, and everybody, and I'm not saying you, I'm saying to all these organizations, everybody has to put on our big boy pants, take our defenses down, and say, how do we get this done? Because everybody can win. We're certainly gonna look for some help from New York State, which there are opportunities right now for New York State to help, and I'll say similar to what you do for the snowmobile associations on the government level, that those registration fees are going back to the clubs that are building and maintaining the trails. Our ATV registration money goes south, gone. The side-by-sides, you can't even register them in New York State. It makes absolutely no sense that they do that. But so there is money that the state could help with, just by take a nominal registration fee for the side-by-sides and funnel that back to all of the areas that are willing to do the work to develop these trails along with the grant money. The Tug Hill associations up in the northern part of our state are year-round, because no, they get all the snow that we didn't want. They got plenty up there to go right now, but they have a crossover into the ATV and side-by-side type of activity. It differs from the snowmobiling side, but snowmobiling's been a tough task for the last few years, and it is anyhow. I mean, can we count on January? Can you count on March? Maybe February. But the ATV side, if we plan to respect the trails that are built in the fall, when it gets, just like right now, it's nice outside. It's not a good time to be out on the trails. It just isn't, because you're gonna do more damage to those at this time until the ground freezes than you're gonna wanna fix. Avoid the hunting season. Let's be respectful of all of our landowners that have issues associated with that. The same thing in the spring. Just let them get ready to open so that we don't have to put millions of dollars back into maintaining them. But this activity can go on 9 months out of the year. That's impressive. These are impressive numbers that we don't have that in our area right now. I don't know what else can generate these types of numbers that doesn't cost anything. It's not the lake, it's not a cleanup, not if we're damaging the environment, and this is where it's so important to bring those situations to the forefront of this. I wanna know if there is some creek or something like that people need to stop shooting at themselves in the foot for our activity. Quit riding in the creek beds. But if there's a creek that's like, hey, we think you're gonna do some damage over here, the nice thing is, we've got enough money to build those things, to build the go-arounds for those things, and be respectful of that, and bring those people on board from the very beginning. I don't wanna fight anybody. I want this to be a downhill type of slide once it gets going, and then I wanna step away. I don't wanna be doing this. I wanna be retired soon.
So, can I ask, are you going after a whole new trail system? Or would you use some of the existing trails?
I
Or,
think
and,
from my experience in riding, or we're maybe not supposed to in South Valley, but there that are very worthy. They're truly spectacular, just as they are in West
And
Virginia.
they're existing trails that are owned by who?
Timber companies, I'm not sure who they
Okay,
all are.
okay.
And each county has their own GIS services to be able to identify landowners. Recently, I bought a subscription to a service called Hunt Stand, and Hunt Stand Whitetail Pro. Cost me $75 a year. But it's nationwide, crossing the border, easy to find out who landowners are. And which is a big step for us, because as we try to figure out where trails could go, owners very quickly. And that can happen in all the counties now with an application like that.
So is the organization already formed? Forgive me,
We've formed an organization, but it's just of the riding nature. It's not actually any authority like it is at the Hatfield McCoys.
so like people from Frewsburg who happen to have permission or have their own land, they ride their ATVs, want to connect with somebody from Silver Creek or something like that, it's an association? Is it kind of like, I guess where I think I know where you're coming from, is that you want to build an existing ATV trail system through Chautauqua County?
Part of Chautauqua
Part
County.
of
It
it.
really is trying to focus around the Kinzua Reservoir, because we have fewer neighbors to deal with. And it's more the terrain that this activity is looking for. The flatlands, kind of boring.
Yeah,
You know, they serve their purpose. And, you know, there's definitely different factions of this. I'm not somebody that likes to ride in the mud. I don't think the mud's ever coming out of your machine when you do that. But there's people that, they want to see it quit in there and go through 4 feet of that crap. Good luck to you. But there's room. There's room in all of that to develop areas for those, you know, with the right property. But we want to talk about the properties that are all around the reservoir. So it really is owned by just tons of people. And the Seneca Nation has the ability to play a big role here. You know, they can certainly move faster than all of the other bodies out there. We will certainly help to encourage them to provide some services that other places maybe take a long time in the area of fuel. You know, an above-ground fuel tanks, which we've seen in some of our locations, are just perfect. Just credit card, you pull up and you're gone. And they're selling ethanol-free, you know, high-end fuel products. So there's a lot of money for them to be made over there and play an integral role. But I think everybody has to play a little bit of a role. And, you know, it can be the tourism thing. Once we've got them here, maybe they look around the county. Maybe they look at all the other things that our area has to offer. And it's a start. You got to get them here somehow. And we will truly bring them to our area from all over the place, not just those 2 hours. It really has a chance to be something quite large.
Okay. Can we open it up now for questions? or-
Sure.
Anybody got-
So what about trails in Chautauqua County then? You're talking about the Kinzua area. Can that dovetail on what we already have with the snowmobile clubs?
I would say no. And
Yeah.
because not so much the ATVs, but the side-by-sides are too big, too heavy, too powerful. The damage that would be done with them, this would take a day before you're gonna have 100 of those out of the door here.
Okay,
They would
what
be,
about new trail systems in Chautauqua County?
I think we can. I don't know of other county property. I really haven't done any research on that side of it. We've been focused more on the South Valley area. But to give you an example of the money that's there in the grant area, when we cross the border into Pennsylvania, this is the Allegheny National Forest, and they do have trails down there. They recently received a grant to develop a connector from the trails in Marionville, just outside of there, all the way into Marionville. Now, that's about 12 miles, but 10 of those miles, as I understand it, are old logging roads and well roads. It was $2 million grant to provide about 2 miles worth of trails. Big money. I don't know what happens to all the money when you get $2 million for that. I think our crew with our bulldozer would do it, you know, in a week for beer and fuel money, so it would be a lot of fun to do those types of things. But it does, to make them sustainable, it's not just bulldozing the property. It really takes, because there's, you know, running 100 ATVs or side-by-sides through an area is one thing. Running 1,000 through there is a whole different ballgame. They really have to be built to be able to withstand that, and thank goodness there's money for it, so. But I'm hoping to see a lot of new stuff in that area. Is there other areas in our area that can be developed? There probably is. You know, they've done it. I don't know, does the county have any big reserves of property that we wouldn't be disturbing too many people or stepping on too many toes. I don't know.
Well, yeah,
Not that I'm aware of.
yeah. I mean, a number of years back, Pierre, you could probably speak the best to it, but the county created the terrestrial trail, the horse trail. And we had a trail booklet too, didn't we? Have something?
Yeah, the equestrian trails over around Cherry Creek.
Okay.
Yeah, there's some down in the South Valley area too, and they're wonderful. ATVs stay off of there. You just do. You have to be respectful when you see those. Horses are a whole nother ballgame, you know, to worry about somebody damaging that. It's not a gigantic group that owns the horses, but it's a wealthy group. They got those deals done, so.
How big of an area are you talking in this South Valley?
Okay, but I just want
Sure,
to,
go
I just want to interject quickly. South Valley is not in our county.
Well, what's,
The Onaville area
yeah,
is not in our county. That is in Cattaraugus County.
yeah.
So, you know, we pretty much stop as you're going out, like say you're going to the Nickel Inn, as you're going out of Frewsburg there, this winding road, that's where Chautauqua County starts. So anything in this, we're talking about the basin, the Kinzua Basin, really is in Cattaraugus County.
Yeah, so how, I mean, and just not looking at the map, to see, cause I'm on Norby Road in Kyantown. And we have been able to wiggle away across a few all the way to Kinzua from our destination. So but I don't know how much of that is Chautauqua County. I don't know a lot of that volume to it. So, and maybe it isn't. I really don't know, but, I mean,
So what you're saying is that most of the area that he's talking about is Cattaraugus? Right now, yeah.
Well, that basin that we're talking about, you know, the Onaville Marina and stuff,
Yeah.
all of that. But the connector part of it, what's made the Hatfield McCoy group so successful, is they've really brought all the small communities together. We made it very ATV friendly, where you go and you literally ride through the towns with your ATVs. You unload them and you go to dinner, and they stay at hotels and stuff. It's been a huge economic boost. And there's nothing wrong with getting down there, but a lot of that is not in Chautauqua County.
yeah, I
Could
think
we
we'd have.
help you? We'd love to.
Yeah,
but-
yeah, and I don't know, you know, hey, I get that, a text, on Monday morning or something through John Davis and somebody else. It's like, hey, they wanna talk about ATV trails. And they sent it to a friend of mine that he likes riding, doesn't have this experience or the connections that I've developed over the last few years to try to address some of the issues that you guys might be interested in. So our association is really looking for, we might down the road need that help, and it helps everybody win if there are people coming to the region in both counties, so
Power steering, the whole shot.
that, you gotta have that.
Pretend I know what that is.
Yes, okay, well,
That
it's
is no
fine,
kidding.
it's fine.
Power steering is it.
And really, right now, when we ride, we go to Rue, Pennsylvania, which is outside of Bradford. You ever heard of Rue? They've got an ATV park down there, so even myself and
The
my wife
Majestic?
go. And they clip us for about $35 for a day pass. So they're $70 right off the top. And of course, they provide food and restrooms and some type of wash basin there for the ATV. And there are sometimes you literally cannot pull in there, especially on your big weekends like Labor Day, Memorial Day, the ATVers come.
Oh,
So
there-
it is very lucrative, that's
There-
true.
West Virginia, the Hatfield McCoy Recreational Authority is $26.50 for an in-state trail pass, and it's $50 for an out-of-state trail pass. It's really cost-effective, you know, to visit those places and spend your money on other things, so. But the community connectors, I actually have, I tend to get bogged down in some of the communities. If somebody's willing to talk to me, I'm talking to them.
Great.
So a gentleman named George Poole in Williamson happened to be an insurance agent. We happened to park in front of his agency when we went for lunch, and he came out to talk to us as we were leaving, and well, that turned into a little half an hour delay for us getting out of there. But he was one of the original folks that got Williamson as a connector, and he sent me a copy of their ordinance of what it took to get them to pass it. So any of the smaller townships that we may try to deal with, we've got some verbiage that they can start with, so maybe they aren't reinventing the wheel either.
Good.
One thing I'm gonna add is that the Hatfield-McCoy Recreational Authority isn't perfect. And when I say everybody wins, not everybody wins in West Virginia. And I don't think that they have paid enough attention to the local communities. We were, I think with a big parking lot, and the guy comes out and says, you know what, we don't have anything going today. You guys can park here. So we pull in there. So we're unloading there, and a couple minutes later, the police car shows up. A half an hour discussion too. But it's like, you know, where do you park around here? He says, how come the communities aren't putting together parking areas? Well, we don't get any of that. We're not sharing in the revenue that's there. And I think that goes against what we're thinking. We need to find ways to make it so that everybody wins in these communities. You know, and I know what the issues are. I know what people are gonna say, well, you know, it's all the law enforcement stuff you're gonna need. Great, let's raise the money. Let's be able to make a contribution to those communities so that they have the funds to properly police it, and, because we wanna keep it. Once you got it, you wanna keep it, and,
Elizabeth, did you have a question?
I did. I mean, thinking about, you know, the well funds going out of Chautauqua County and that, what's happening in Cat County. I mean, look at the snowmobilers who've come in here and developed relationships and they can bring money into the county. I mean, what would it take for Chautauqua County to be able to develop trails for ATVs, to be able to say, what you thought maybe 9 months worth of
Yeah.
income?
I would really say it's attractive land, that would be big enough to host something that's there. As we're moving east, I talked to a friend of mine in Allegheny County out in Corning today, and they have a place called Demon Run. I think he called it Demon Run, whatever, or something like that. And it's only 20 miles of trails, and that isn't very much. But they get a lot of activity there. And, you know, any area that we can develop like that will put you on the map. The Hatfield-McCoys has, I think it's now 11 trail systems there. They're not all connected. Some of these are just uniquely on their own. In fact, they just opened one called Cabway Lingo last year in a state park. But it's on its own. You know, there's 40 or 50 miles, I think, of riding in there, and it's enough to warrant it. But I guess it would be, you know, working with some of the folks that know county property to see if we have some tracts of
So
land
has
that we.
anybody done any research in Chautauqua County about being able to open up something like that?
I don't think so. Our organization started a couple years ago, and then COVID hit, and everything kind of ground to a halt, as many things do. But even in my personal life, this has been kind of nagging at me that we haven't gotten anything regenerated again. So I'm making some changes in my personal life and my work life to be able to have some more time to do this. So if you've got an idea of who to talk to in the county, I'm interested in going to that, somebody that might know where the property is, and see if it could be done.
I would think your lead person would be Mark Geis. You know, the planning director.
You know, Chairman, if I can make a comment,
Please do.
I would envision a group of people that you could lead on a 1 or 2 day visit.
If
Take the
we could do it in South Valley right now, if we could find the permissions
know-
to
you
get
know,
there,
I-
we'd blow
you know,
your,
I-
you really would be blown away
Sure.
to what it can be.
I don't know how fast it could happen, but with any economic development, a new landfill development, a new solar development, a new windmill development, a new manufacturing technology, our economic development.
Yeah, Rich
I'm
Dixon's
personally
there.
too busy in my.
Chief
in my-
Financial Officer
Okay.
for the idea.
You know, I'm just individually too busy to be able to do that, but it's something I look forward to do as I get older. But I would highly recommend that a group of stakeholders, people have the passion like yourself, that you can open it. They can visually see it. You gotta see it and touch it and taste it to get that
I would
passion.
agree. It only took one trip
One trip.
to West Virginia.
You know,
to go.
we do, I'm sure our IDA does this all the time
I think we can do that, and I think
to spark
that
something.
if that's who we're taking under that it's not some folks sneaking out, that we could actually have some permission to be on some areas that we otherwise may not be granted permission to be on, and give them a little look-see.
What I want them to see is I want them to see the number of people there and how the people get along, the families, the enjoyment, the outdoors, spending that money as a family together on vacation or time away.
Yeah.
You know, and when you see that and you feel it, it changes everything.
Oh,
You know,
I-
you can
if I
talk all
can
day
take it-
long. Visually, I think stuff where you get to some people to buy in, just to go visit. And you just have to give them a little explanation, and they can see it and feel it and witness it. And when that happens, you know, you're organically gonna make it
So
happen.
if you wouldn't mind, I would make that connection for you.
Yeah.
And put you and Mark
Yeah.
together for
Uh-huh.
an initial meeting.
Yeah.
Conversation on the phone, and then maybe we take it from there. Good ideas about the trip, but I think the first thing is to make the connection, and I can do that, or somebody else can do it with you.
Yeah, I truly am, it's so exciting to see this, and, you know, you talk about who does this really appeal to? I'm gonna tell you, it's all the way up and down the economic scale. And this is my observations in West Virginia, that we have places that are tent camping, that are driving older ATVs, but they're having a great time. It goes all the way up to the people that have spent $30, $40, $50,000 on these side-by-sides. We have one place that we have stayed, that we have been trying to stay at another place that's up on top of this ridge, called West Virginia ATV Rentals, but they have built these, I'll call them cabins, but they're 3-bedroom places with 3 bathrooms, pillow top mattresses. $350 a night, and you can't get one. Can't get one in the mountains of West Virginia. It's just unbelievable.
They're booked.
Yeah, they are just booked. The demand it's there, all of it's there. All the way from, you know, it's $20 a night, park your camper there and have a great time. So, it's booming in West Virginia and the other places. We are not fighting with them. We are truly kin to them. So,
Well, I appreciate you coming and talking to us about this. Does anybody else have any other questions?
Can I just say one more thing, too?
Certainly.
I just want the committee to know the difference between a snowmobile trail and an ATV trail. You know, we wait for the snow comes, and we wait for the snow to come, and it lays a nice layer down on the fields. And in theory, the snowmobile's right on top of it, and they don't do a lot of damage, willfully damaging the fields and stuff like that. ATVs are different because they have wheels that spin, so there's a lot of maintenance.
no.
They
You know, it's
don't
funny,
allow
our attorney
So
had
that's the
said
difference.
that one of the things that you're not, it has to be respected, because we're gonna lose it. If we get it started and there's too many people going out of bounds, if you will, that have damaged other property, one of the secrets that I can tell you to maintaining this and getting it off the ground is for us to be willing. There's a lot of people already that have heavy machinery, that have their own businesses. It's like, you know what, if we've got a real damage over here, gosh darn it, we gotta take a day off, and we're gonna go fix that. We're gonna go fix it right now. Because developing a community, or, you know, a committee, if you will, of landowners, especially ones that have seen something go to the negative and say, man, that was bad. But you should see how fast they addressed it. And that's controlling our own image in the communities. And, we wanna work hard to build it, and we're gonna work hard to keep it. So,
Good.
thank you,
Okay.
folks, for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much,
And,
too.
Thank you. Let me know.
I have a motion
Thank you all
to-
for being here, just
Appreciate it.
truly serving, because this ain't easy, and it's not free. You know, your
Thank you.
time is not free, I know that, so thank you.
I have a motion to adjourn. Second. All signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Thanks, Tim. Nice meeting you.
That was perfect.